This is Wayne 15 First News Weekend.
It's Saturday, July 19th. Thanks for starting your morning with us. I'm Mia Pettigrew. As President Trump prepares to meet with European leaders overseas, attention here at home remains on the Jeffrey Epstein case. Breaking news this morning, a man is dead after an early morning shooting. Charges against an 18-year-old girl are now dropped in connection to the case that started as a traffic stop. Drones were out in Markle last night as police were searching for a man they say took off on foot after a pursuit. President Trump and the First Lady promised support for flood victims in Central Texas as they toured the devastation yesterday. I mean, umbrella, fan, poncho, we need answers. This forecast is doing the absolute most. The annual Wigan Construction Duck Race is back today. Wayne 15's Hannah Grace is at Promenade Park ahead of the spectacular event. This week, roughly 300 students received a special scholarship from the state, a scholarship designed to address the state's teacher shortage. If you're looking for vintage clothing in the city, the Summit City Vintage Fest has you covered. Co-owners Justin Garman and Edwin Thomas are here with all the details. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
An annual event featuring local artists is back for its 32nd year. And this week's Positively Fort Wayne, we see how one man with a big heart can inspire others to make a difference. A local couple is giving those who feel they need a reset a chance to step away from stress. The rain stayed away just enough. I'm sure a lot of people were out on the grill cooking up some hot dogs. I don't know if they told you, I'm kind of a breakdancing queen.
Hey, there you go.
Might have to show you my moves.
Hey, that would be great. I'd love that.
No, I'm just kidding about that. But it would be nice, right? Officers have been diverting traffic for hours following a crash that has left one dead and another person hospitalized. Right now on the corner of Mommy and Anthony, where a woman was pronounced dead on the scene following a 3-car crash. So EMS officials did arrive. It's still unclear to whether someone who was working the scene was injured or a bystander. The structure to the left side of the property has completely come down. I see burnt tires all over the ground, and at least one person is left in life-threatening condition. This is still a very ongoing investigation, and as you can see, a very active scene. I count at least 15 or 20 different police cars right now. As you just saw, I mean, we have a lot of concerned neighbors outside as well. I just heard someone, this sounded like they were crying, obviously very emotional. And if we look even further back into the fence over there, we can see piles of metal and burned tires as well. This right here in front of us used to be a structure that is now completely collapsed. The dirt is still fresh, but developers say this spot will be home to over 100 families by next year. They're part of your daily walk, the path to the park, and even the edge of your driveway. But here in Waynedale, sidewalks have become less of a convenience and more of a hazard. While these jets are slicing through the skies in precision practice, one viewer tells us their flight was suddenly grounded. 2 years after Dante Curry stood trial inside this courthouse behind me for murder and was acquitted, one of the jurors who served on his case received something in the mail she never would have expected. A letter from Dante Curry himself that starts like a pen pal note.
Starts out, hello, how are you holding up out there at this time?
But for one juror and her family, it felt more like a warning.
What I'm thinking is why? Why send this? I mean,
was he just seeking sympathy?
Maybe, or maybe he's just letting us know, I know where you live.
The letter arrived from Westville Correctional Facility, where Curry now sits on a drug conviction. But the case this juror served on, a 2023 murder trial where Curry was found not guilty.
The guy I spoke to said, I've been doing it 13 years and I've never heard of this happening.
So that may leave you thinking, how did Curry get the juror's private address? Rick says court officials told him the answer is buried in a paperwork mistake.
When he asked for his discovery and all of his paperwork, all the jurors' names and their addresses were included in on all that paperwork. That's the 12 jurors and the alternates, everybody.
Now the family says the fear isn't just emotional, it's physical.
You kind of get this, people talk about the fight or flight. I'm not going to run. I'm too old to run. I have grandkids that come over here, and I'm not going to let nothing happen to the grandkids.
The clerk of courts confirmed that it was a one-off clerical error, saying they felt sick to their stomachs when they learned what happened. They say safeguards are now being reviewed. This incident is being investigated. Before this family, the damage is done.
All it takes is one incident, just one time. That's it, and you lose that trust.
The Indiana Department of Corrections confirms they are looking into this incident. The prosecutor's office has not yet responded to our request for comment. Here at the Allen County Courthouse, Mia Pettigrew, Wayne 15 News. You see the shows, you hear the voices, but what you don't see is how it all comes together. This is the control room where public broadcasting stays alive. But with $1.1 billion in federal cuts looming, stations like this one are at risk of going dark.
It's a hard pill to swallow for us, but it's really a slap at the American people.
PBS Fort Wayne is preparing for one of the largest public broadcasting cuts in U.S. history, more than $1.1 billion nationwide. Here in Fort Wayne, the station is losing 42% in total revenue, over $1 million.
Any business that's a $3 million business that loses that much money is going to be impacted in a really negative way. We've cut back on staffing. We've already cut back on programming, and people have lost jobs. It's it is a real impactful situation here for us.
Federal cuts paired with losses at the state level mean fewer staff, fewer shows, and the potential shutdown of sub-channels, including ones focused on education and cultural programming.
There's syndicated programming that we're no longer able to purchase. I think in the months ahead you will see some programming changes on the air.
What's not on the chopping block?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
Children's programming. Leaders say shows like Sesame Street and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood are staying, at least for now.
Not every child has cable TV in their home. Not every child is streaming Netflix. Some families can't afford this, and PBS programming is free. They teach real educational building blocks and curriculum, and it's part of growing up.
But keeping those building blocks on air now comes with a plea.
With your continued support, we will carry on with the important mission of public media in Fort Wayne.
A mission they say now belongs to the community. PBS Fort Wayne says if federal dollars disappear, they'll be counting on public donations now more than ever. Reporting from PBS Fort Wayne, Mia Pettigrew, Wayne 15 News. On the 4th of July, you'll see plenty of red, white, and blue out here on the lakes, but you'll also see flashing lights if you're boating under the influence. Indiana conservation officers say their job isn't to ruin the party, but to make sure it ends safely. Red, white, and blue, and a flash of red and blue lights. If you're not careful, Indiana conservation officers are already out on Indiana lakes, getting ahead of what's expected to be one of the busiest weekends of the summer.
There'll be a lot of people, hundreds if anything, especially if you go up to Lake James. I mean, it's a huge lake.
And that's why they say it'll be all hands on deck.
July 4th through the 6th is Operation Dry Waters. Our division is very focused on that this weekend, making sure that every boat operator is sober out of the waters.
Last year, dozens of Hoosiers were cited or arrested for boating while intoxicated. And yes, it can land you in jail. But alcohol isn't the only thing that can get you into some trouble.
Is that a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket?
Officials say running through a basic safety checklist can save lives.
Making sure that your boat registration is good, Secondly, you have life jackets per person on the boat. You have your Type 4 throwable if your boat is 16 foot or longer. And all your navigational lights work in case you do stay past sunset in Indiana.
Conservation officers are prepared to respond to emergencies when they can, but if the situation calls for more immediate help,
call 911, right? If that's something that requires first responder immediately, call 911.
And remember, celebrate smart, because freedom doesn't mean forgetting safety. Here on Hamilton Lake, Mia Pettigrew, Wing 15 News.